Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Tish. Thank you for those kind words and for all the support that you provide as well. Thank you to all of you here today, taking time out of your morning to participate and learn more about Social Security and your benefits. My name is Grace Sampson, and like Tish said, I am a public affairs specialist for the Bay Area. And like previously mentioned, we'll be going through some updates, some tips, some tools, and reminders. I'm going to just start off here with how can you get help from Social Security? How can you get some assistance? Similar to other agencies, SSA has moved into a more appointment-focused model. About late to maybe late 2025, late last year, which means that we are no longer taking most walk-in requests and appointments will be handled, appointments will be required to handle most SSA business. This allows us to provide better service as we will know the reason for the visit and we can research any issues beforehand. Additionally, this decreases the customer's overall wait. It has been a change and adjustment for both SSA and the public, but overall we've had positive results and received positive feedback. I do want to share that we will not turn anyone away and will assist individuals with scheduling appointment. Any dire need issues should be communicated so that we can determine if we have the capacity for same-day assistance. Many of transactions and information that you may need can be completed and answered on our website. Our website has been enhanced. It continues to be enhanced to really be able to provide service for the public that you need and to be easier to navigate. We also have our 1-800 number, our national number, that can serve you by answering questions, by scheduling you an appointment. And there has been some enhancements to our phone service as well that we will get into shortly. The website on how to schedule an appointment link is right there on the bottom. There are a few different appointment types that you can also schedule an appointment for online. So we'll talk about that as well. For those of you that may not have visited our website recently, you'll see that there has been some changes to it. It's in our ongoing commitment to provide efficient and equitable service. We have launched a redesigned homepage. This new design makes it easier for visitors to find the information they need and complete common tasks online. This homepage encourages online self-service adoption and highlights the My Social Security portal. It's also laid out a bit differently than previously, allowing you to kind of see right away what it is that you want to get done, what tasks you want to accomplish. Additionally, on the top right, you can click on the Espanol link, which I circled there in yellow, if you would like to convert our website into Spanish. So you can see here, right there in the center, it says sign in or create an account. And below that, you have the options for getting a benefit estimate, applying for benefits, check your status in your application or appeals process, or replace your Social Security card. We also have a life events section. So maybe, you're looking for information because you've reached a milestone in age. Maybe you've had some health changes, legal status changes, or personal information changes, such as a change in your name or your contact information. So you can see how the different tasks are categorized now. And below that is services option. Maybe you need to make an appointment. Maybe you need to find an office. Maybe you need to check your eligibility for benefits. Customers now have the option to self-schedule an in-office Post-entitlement appointment, which means that you're already on benefits. That's what post-entitlement means. After completing a questionnaire, so right here in the center on the bottom, it says make an appointment. You would click that link and it would route you to a questionnaire, asking you different questions to see what it is that you need. Most of those appointment topics that will be allowed to be scheduled online have to do with Medicare issues, maybe representative payee situations, direct deposit updates or changes. Maybe you have to submit proofs for a pending claim or an appeal, a non-receipt of a check. Maybe you didn't get your check that month, or a remittance. Maybe you need to submit a payment. So these are the type of appointments that you could self-schedule on our website. Now, scrolling further down on our website, you see there's a lot of other options. Documents. A lot of times we need a benefit verification or some type of proof of income. You can do that through your online account. Maybe you need a replacement 1099. You can get that as well. Maybe you want to submit your wages. You want to submit some type of documents. You can click on the upload documents and be able to do that through your My SSA account. And you can see the columns going to the right, making a payment, something having to do with your payment, something having to do with your social security number or card. Or maybe you have to make an update to your record. So those are the different categories now. You can see there's different ways to access the information. And then here at the bottom, other services. Maybe you have a need for information as an employee or as an employer. Maybe you need to verify a social security number, information that you might need about representative payees. Maybe you're an appointed representative or you have an appointed representative. And then here on the bottom right, government services. So there is a ton of information just on our homepage that will help you to go to a deeper dive of whatever information you're needing, whatever questions you may have. And as you scroll further down on the same homepage, there is a bar that says Social Security Performance. And there is a link in this box that says, see how we're doing. Our most recent monthly performance results for each service channel are available in the boxes, or are available on that page. Once you click on the see how we're doing, you'll see several reports. We are improving performance across all of our service channels, and compared to last year or even a few months ago, all of these numbers have decreased. So you can see the information on this slide is from December 2025. So you can see for our online services, there's been over 54 million successful transitions. For the phone self-service options, we've had 1.8 million calls handled through the self-service option. And those two services have 0 wait times. Agent calls, which is the calls that we're taking either through our 800 number, almost 3 million calls have been handled with an average speed of answer. Again, this is nationwide, so this is an average of 12 minutes of an answer speed. And then for field office visits, across the nation, we've had over 2 million visitors with about 21 minutes average overall wait time. And that's huge. And a lot of that is due to the appointment model that we've moved into. I think another very handy tool that's available that some of you may not know about is we do have an FAQs page. Okay, these are our most frequently asked questions. You can view them all at the same time, or you can look for questions based on the category. So from our FAQs page, these are actually the most asked questions that are here on this slide. And you could click on it and get the answer. This is alleviating the need for you to visit an office or call and wait on hold to get someone to give you this information. It's all available at your fingertips, whether it be through your cell phone, your tablet, or your home computer or laptop. So just a couple I'll read out loud here. How much is the COLA going to be? How do I schedule or reschedule an appointment? What happens if I work and get Social Security retirement benefits? Do I have to pay taxes on my Social Security benefits? These are questions that we often get, and you can get them answered from our FAQs page. This is another way that you could view it by topic. Maybe your question has to do with Social Security numbers or supplemental security income. You could just click on the the uh, the the box of the topic you're looking for to get additional questions under that topic. We've answered more than 200 of the most frequently asked questions, and you can find them all there. And lastly, if you scroll all the way to the bottom of our website on that landing page, there is other links there. And the one I want to highlight is the first column under support. You can see the first link under support is contact us. This gives you the different options of how to contact SSA. Underneath that is find an office. Maybe you're not sure where your local office is. Maybe you've moved, or maybe you're, on a trip and you're not in your home place and you're looking for an office nearby. You can find an office there by typing in the zip code. That'll give you the address, phone number, as well as their electronic fax number. Maybe you need a form. You're looking for a form, or you're trying to help somebody, or maybe you were talking with SSA and they said you needed to fill out a specific form and you want to just fill it out at home. You can click that forms link and it'll give you a database. You would type in the form you need and it would pull it up. Most of our forms are housed there. There's also a publications link. All of our publications, all of our one-pagers are available in that link. It again will lead you to a database where all of our publications and marketing tools are housed. So maybe you want to read a pamphlet about, the Ticket to Work program. Maybe you want to read a pamphlet about retirement, about survivor benefits, about Social Security disability and going back to work. Those publications are available as well. So you would just type in what you're looking for in the search bar, and it would provide you with any publication that has to do with that topic. You could print it, you could email it to yourself, or you could just read it on your computer or your tablet or phone. So going back to the home page, as far as the top of the home page, where you first type in our website, you can sign into your online account by clicking that sign in on the top right. You could also use this larger button to click on if you need to create an account or sign into your account. And this will be right there as soon as you go to our website. Your My SSA account is really number one, the best way to manage your benefits. It's safe, it's secure, it's convenient. It allows you to handle so many different tasks through your My SSA account online, independently and self-sufficiently. If you haven't already made a My SSA account, I really encourage you to do so, especially if you're on benefits, because it will help you to do a lot of different things and check a lot of things, again, without from the comfort of your own home. So when you're creating a My SSA account, you have two options. You can use a login.gov account, or you can create an ID.me account. There is a video available on our website on how to choose your sign-in account to create your My SSA account. There's also a video that gives you step-by-step instructions on how to create the accounts, whether you choose login.gov or you choose ID.me. And these Account platforms are also used by other federal agencies. So if you've already created one, let's say for the IRS website, you would use that same login credential for your MySSA account or vice versa. So why would you want to create an account? Well, number one, it's quick, right? Your personal MySSA account gives you immediate access, and then it's secure. We're using the best technologies available to protect your personal information. It's easy, so we're trying our best to make it as convenient as possible. And again, it is accurate. It is your account, so it is interfacing with your actual social security record. You have to be 18 years old. You have to have a social security number, and you have to have an email address in order to create a My Social Security account. And with your My SSA account, you can do a host of different things. You can request a replacement Social Security card. You can upload documents and submit forms online. If you're not receiving benefits, you could get benefit estimates. You can request a social security statement that shows all the earnings that you've had. It also gives you estimates for the different benefits you could be entitled to based on how much you've worked. So it would give you retirement estimates, what your retirement benefit would look like at age 62 or age 67. If you were to suddenly become disabled, it would give you an estimate for what your disability benefit amount would be. If you are receiving benefits, again, you could get a replacement 1099. You could change your address. You can file an appeal. You can request a benefit verification letter. You can check your benefits or update your records 24/7. You can apply for benefits. Again, making that replacement card application, or if you need to go into an office, you can make an appointment and complete that application process for a replacement Social Security card. You can also view or print a detailed earnings record, which you weren't able to do before. And a lot of people would come into the office for that, and you have to pay for it. I think it's about $60. And through your My SSA account, you could view that or print it um, without having to come into an office, request it, or pay for it. Now, I had mentioned earlier that we have enhanced our phone service. So Social Security converted to the Amazon Web Service phone system. Which is a new platform, which has improved our ability to answer calls quicker and given different options. There's the 800 number enhancements, which number one is open from 8 a.m. I think it's 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. local time, because we do have 800 call centers, 800 number call centers across the nation. We also have service representatives from field office that are assisting with the 800 number as well, which allows more available agents during the core hours of business. We've started using a call sharing option, which again, having people answer phones. So all the different field offices are answering phones for everyone. So if a local office doesn't pick up your call within a certain amount of time, it's rerouted to a next available agent. So yes, you may get an agent that's not in your servicing area. However, you're having a shorter wait, and there's less calls that are being dropped. Less. So overall, we've been seeing a positive result. And, we are a federal agency, so you should be getting the same information, the same type of assistance anywhere that you're calling or visiting, as long as it's a Social Security agency. We also have video calling. This is rolling out a little bit slower, and is typically for Social Security replacement card or first-time Social Security card interviews. We also have our automated phone service. This new automated phone service is available 24/7, which allows the public to conduct business with Social Security outside of business hours on the weekends, and on federal holidays. Some of the current tasks that you can complete through this automated phone service are listed here. A request a benefit verification letter or an award notice. Again, if you need a replacement 1099, if you need to check the status of your pending claim or pending appeal, you can request a replacement Medicare card. You can change your address if you're on Social Security, disability, or retirement. There's also the informational messages that are from our FAQs, our frequently asked questions. So when you call, you'll need to state what it is that you want to accomplish. For example, change my address. The automated system will respond accordingly, and most actions will be completed in less than 10 minutes. It'll route your call accordingly to whatever you say you need to get done. Some of those FAQs that you may be routed to if you're just looking for more information have to do with payment delivery dates. So you can use the automated phone service. Maybe you don't have a My SSA account yet. You can still get some of these things done through the automated phone service with zero wait, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Or if you just need some additional information, you can get some of that informational messaging from our frequently asked questions option. You just have to say when prompted what it is you're trying to accomplish. Now we're going to move into just some reminders about disability and SSI. So as a reminder, Social Security's definition of disability is different than other agencies. And maybe the lay term of disability. So the Social Security Act defines disability as a person who cannot work due to a severe medical condition that has lasted for at least a year or will last more than a year. Okay, so we do not pay short-term disability. Your condition has to last a year or more, and you have to be affected by your condition. And your condition has to affect your ability to work. Okay, so your disability is preventing you from working, and your medical condition must prevent you from doing substantial and gainful work that they did in the past, and it must prevent you from adjusting to other work that maybe you could do now and still earn that substantial amount. And we'll get into that substantial gainful amount on a later slide. Okay, so you have to be found disabled. Your disability has to last a year or more, and it has to affect your ability to work. That is the definition. So if you could be disabled, but you're still able to work, we don't consider that disabled under Social Security definition. We house two programs under disability with Social Security. We have Social Security Disability, also known as SSDI, and we have SSI, called Supplemental Security Income. So for Social Security Disability, we provide a monthly benefit for people who are no longer able to work because of a significant disabling condition. Okay. You also have to have been paying into Social Security, which means you have to have been working and paying into Social Security. For Supplemental Security Income, or SSI, for this program, you also have to be found disabled, but you have to also have limited income and resources, or you're 65 or older. You don't have to be disabled, but you do have to have limited income, limited resources as well. SSI also pays disabled children, again, with limited income, limited resources of their parent or guardians. So although both programs are disability programs, they are different. different. They have different rules. They are funded differently. And this slide just outlines the difference because sometimes we confuse those acronyms. So SSDI comes from the Social Security Trust Fund and is based on a person's earnings. So you have to have worked recently and be disabled to be able to get SSDI. Whereas Supplemental Security Income, or SSI, these payments come from the General Treasury Fund, not the Social Security Trust Fund. SSI payments are not based on a person's earnings. SSI is also needs-based. That means your eligibility depends largely on limited income and resources, as well as being found disabled. Where Social Security disability is insurance that workers earn by paying Social Security taxes on their wages. For SSDI, it pays benefits to people who can no longer work due to their disability, regardless of their income and resources. Where SSI pays people with a disability who are unable to work and have limited income and resources, also pays people age 65 and older, again, with limited income and resources. So that's a big difference as well. Social Security disability will pay workers that have an adult child who is disabled that meets certain requirements, but doesn't pay children, right? Because they haven't worked and paid into it. Whereas SSI does have payments for children that also, of course, have the limited income and resources. So those are the differences, is that it comes from a different trust fund. One is needs-based and it pays different people. SSI does have the flexibility to pay someone 65 or older or children that are disabled, as well as adults. Now, another reminder for those of you that are on Social Security Disability or SSI, that you will have what's called a continuing disability review. You will receive a notice in the mail when you're due for a review. Basically, any person that receives disability benefits will have their medical conditions reviewed. How often we review your medical condition depends on whether your condition is likely to improve or not. Okay, so we're basically checking, has your condition improved? Are you able to return to work? If medical improvement is expected, then we would review your medical condition within 6 to 18 months after you've been approved. Possibly we will normally review your medical condition about every 3 years. That's typically the average. If your medical condition is not expected, then we'll normally review your medical condition about every 7 years. Your initial award notice, when you were approved, will let you know when you can expect your first medical review. And at that time, you will need to complete and submit the CDR, or Continuing Disability Review forms. So again, you would get a notice in the mail. You would get these forms in the mail. You can now do these online. And so depending on your condition would dictate how often you would have a medical review. We just want to highlight this so that if you get this notice in the mail, you know that you should act on it and you know what to expect. Earlier in the introduction, Tish had mentioned work incentives. So work incentives are Social Security Disability and SSI programs include several work incentives. And these are designed to protect your monthly and medical benefits while you try to go back to work. So these are employment supports provisions that assist beneficiaries in moving from benefit dependency to independence. They're designed to help beneficiaries enter, re-enter, or stay in the workforce by protecting their eligibility for cash payments and or healthcare. If your benefits end because of work and you have to stop working later, These work incentives can make it easier to begin receiving benefits again. Just like SSI and SSDI are very different in regards to how the programs are funded and how a person qualifies, the way that work is counted and how it's reported when it impacts a person's eligibility, as well as what incentives exist, are also different for each program. Some examples for employment supports I have listed here. And again, these employment supports assist you in finding a job, maybe starting a business, obtaining other support services that you might need to get or keep a job. So the first one here listed is subsidies and special conditions, unsuccessful work attempts, impairment-related work expenses. So these top three are conditions that if you're going back to work, maybe we would reduce the amount of income that we're reporting due to any subsidies or special conditions. An unsuccessful work attempt means that you tried to go back to work, but you were only maybe able to work for 1 month or 2 months. We wouldn't want to stop your check. Impairment-related work expenses, also known as IRWEs. These expenses, maybe you need them due to your condition in order to work successfully. So the cost of these expenses, we may be able to reduce what we count as earnings due to this employment support of an IRWE. There's also the Plan to Achieve Self-Support, or the PASS plan, the Ticket to Work plan. These two, again, are helping you to return to work. They allow you to have the opportunity to try to plan and see what jobs you may or may not be able to do. There's also the continued payment under VOC rehab or similar programs, which is the Section 301. And then there's the expedited reinstatement for someone that did go back to work, their benefits ceased. However, they weren't able to continue that, and they can have their benefits reinstated. There is obviously a lot of different policies and additional information regarding these topics that we would want you to review so that you can make sure they fit you. Working with DOR, they're very knowledgeable on all of these different employment supports as well. That Ticket to Work program is an innovative program that increases your available choices when obtaining employment services, vocational rehabilitation services, and other support services you may need to start or maintain your job, just for an example. So the best guide to reviewing these work incentives and learning more about it is through the Red Book. The Red Book can be found on our website, and it serves as a general reference source about employment-related provisions of Social Security, disability, and SSI for educators, advocates, rehabilitation professionals, and counselors who serve people with disabilities, and of course yourselves, if you're on benefits. Although you may use the Red Book as a self-help guide, please remember that if you need specific information to your situation regarding eligibility or benefits, you may need to contact SSA for that. Now, we're going to also go over some reminders for individuals that are on SSI called Section 1619. So these are special SSI payment options for persons who work, and it's called Section 1619A. Section 1619A says that you can receive SSI cash benefits even when you're working over the SGA level. This provision eliminates the need for a trial work period or extended period of eligibility under SSI. So again, this is for SSI recipients. To qualify, you must have been eligible for an SSI payment for at least 1 month before working at that SGA level. You still have to be disabled, and you still have to meet all the other eligibility rules, including income and resource tests. Okay, under 1619A, a beneficiary can receive their gross income from wages, an SSI payment calculated based on your wages, and Medicaid. So this provision is, again, only available for people on SSI. And in layman's terms, it just means that you're working and earning money where you're over that SGA threshold amount. However, you're still under the income limit for SSI. That's why you're able to still collect a portion of your SSI and still be entitled to Medicaid and collect your wages. Okay, because your wages are under the limit for SSI income, even though they're over that SGA amount for that year. Under 1619, there's also a provision B, where a beneficiary can retain their Medicaid and SSI eligibility. Okay, a lot of people, their biggest concern about going back to work is the possibility of losing their medical coverage, right? So 1619B of the Social Security Act provides this protection for beneficiaries. Okay, you have that Medicaid coverage to continue by having been eligible for SSI for at least 1 month. You're still disabled and meet the disability rules. You need Medi-Cal benefits to continue to work, and you have gross earnings that are insufficient to replace SSI and Medicaid. So this means that SSI beneficiaries have earnings that are too high to continue to get their SSI monthly cash benefit amount. They may still be eligible to continue their Medicaid or Medi-Cal for us if they meet those requirements. SSA uses a threshold amount to measure whether a person's earnings are high enough to replace their SSI and Medicaid benefits. This threshold amount is based on the amount of earnings which could cause SSI to stop in the person's given state and the average Medicaid expenses in that state. So if an SSI beneficiary has gross earnings higher than that threshold for their state, SSI can figure an individual threshold amount if that person has maybe some income impairment, related work expenses, which are IRWs, or maybe they're on a PASS plan, and we could lower that amount. But if they're over that amount, then yes, they may not be entitled to Medicaid anymore. The threshold amount for 2026 is $66,078. So if you're working and earning, and you're no longer entitled to SSI, you could still continue your Medi-Cal benefits if you're under that amount. We want to issue another reminder for SSI about rental subsidies. Okay, so if you're an individual on SSI that's living in the same household as a family member or relative and sharing expenses, you may be entitled this may apply to you, I should say. So if you're renting at a discount, again, from a family member, a parent, child, or spouse, your rent arrangement may no longer affect your SSI benefit. Okay, so the rent equal to the presumed maximum value is defined as 1/3 of the federal benefit rate plus $20. Okay, so in 2026, if you are paying an amount equal to or greater than $351.33, then this may apply to you. It means that we won't count this as income to you, as a support to you. It wouldn't affect your benefit amount. So here's an example of Ben. Ben receives SSI and has no other income. He rents a room from his parents in their home, and they provide him food. Ben pays his parents $400 a month for food and rent. Because of this provision, and Ben's payment of $400 is greater than the PMV, and a rental agreement exists, his SSI payment will no longer be reduced due to the rental subsidy. So that's something newer. I think it was September of 2024. But for just a reminder for those of you in this situation on SSI, it shouldn't count against or reduce your benefit amount if it's under $351.33. Excuse me, over 350. Now, let's get into some new data for 2026. Now, you've heard us talk about the substantial gainful activity amount. And for 2026, that amount has increased to $1,690 per month. For individuals that are blind, that SGA amount is $2,830 per month. Keep in mind, these are gross amounts. So those have both increased from 2025. The trial work period months, the monthly earnings amount that we use to determine a trial work period, is now $1,210 in 2026. So that's more for SSDI recipients, Social Security Disability, where we count trial work period months. So it's now $1,210. Now, the Supplemental Security Income federal benefit rate is now $994 per month for an individual and $1,491 per month for a couple. This is for 2026 due to that cost of living. Now, the student earned income exclusion is a provision that allows an SSI recipient under age 22 and regularly attending school to have limited incomes that are not counted against their SSI payments. So they have to limit their earnings. But in 2026, the amount we will exclude is $2,410 per month, which for a yearly amount would be $9,730 that we could exclude. In 2026, the monthly Medicare Part A premium will be $565, and the 45% reduced premium is $311. Now for 2026, the Medicare Part B monthly premium has also increased. It's going to be $202.90 a month. Now, just to unpack that student earned income exclusion a little bit more, I know that the definition includes the term regularly attending school, which allows us to exclude some of your income. What does regularly attending school mean? Well, it could mean in a college or university for at least 8 hours a week, or in grades 7 to 12 for at least 12 hours a week, or in a training course to prepare for employment for at least 12 hours a week, 15 hours a week if the course involves shop practice, or for less time than indicated for reasons beyond the student can't control, maybe illness or homeschooling if instructed in grades 7 to 12 for at least 12 hours a week. Okay, so that's what we look at as a definition of regularly attending school. And if you meet any of those, we would exclude $2,410 earned income per month, which is huge. So if that fits for you, you definitely want to take advantage if you can. We do also want to highlight a reminder to prevent overpayments as well as underpayments for SSI. Beneficiaries want to make sure that they are regularly reporting their wages. Okay, we want you to report your wages within 6 days of the end of the month. SSDI and SSI recipients can report their wages through their My SSA account. You can visit or call an office. You can mail or fax your wage information to Social Security. There's also an automated telephone wage reporting service, again, available 24/7, and you can call and report your wages. SSI recipients can also report their wages via the SSI mobile wage reporting application and the telephone wage reporting service. Okay, regardless of which method is used to report wages, you can also go online to receive a monthly email or text message for a wage reporting reminder. So it will literally give you an email or a text message when it's time to report your wages. It's a great reminder, a handy tool to keep you on track of reporting your wages. Another option is something called PI or the Payroll Information Exchange. This isn't something that you would technically go download or do, but this provision allows for automated wage and employment information reporting from payroll data providers to Social Security. So certain employers who participate in this payroll service will send their wage and employment information to SSA automatically. The Payroll Information Exchange automates this reporting process by transmitting information from the payroll data provider service to SSA, and it helps reduce improper payments by ensuring timely and accurate submission of your wages and employment reports. So if you want to take advantage of this, you just need to provide authorization saying, yes, I'm allowing Social Security to gather this information. Usually in the claims path, it's a question that is asked if you are allowing Social Security authorization to use these different payroll services. If you say yes and fill out a form, then you can be a part of that. So this slide just goes into that some of that detail that we were talking about with that payroll information exchange. So again, we just need your permission. And of course, your employer has to be participating. And this way you wouldn't have to report your wages every month if you authorize us to receive them automatically. So there is a form, and again, you could get the form from our website, or if you're working with an agent, they can send the form to you. It's an SSA 8240, which is an authorization for the Social Security Administration to obtain wage and employment information from payroll data providers. So it's a great opportunity for those of you that have employers that participate, so then you don't even have to worry about getting your wages in on time. So we really are working to try to make things easier for the beneficiary. We do also want to highlight some reminders about overpayments. An overpayment is when you receive more money than you should have from Social Security. You would get a notice if you had an overpayment. We'll wait at least 30 days after sending an overpayment notice before starting to collect the money. In that notice, it lists options for you to take regarding your overpayment. One of the options is to repay it. You could repay it in full, or you can create a payment plan. Another option is to file an appeal. Filing an appeal means you disagree with the fact and the amount of your overpayment, which means you're saying this is untrue. These numbers are incorrect. I want to file an appeal on my overpayment. I should not have one, or these figures are wrong and it shouldn't be this much. Or the third option, which is a waiver. Filing a waiver means that you don't think that it's your fault, but you are unable to repay it. You acknowledge that you were overpaid. Okay, so appeals and waivers are different, and you typically should never be submitting both. It's one or the other. A waiver is usually the best course of action if you were in fact overpaid, and you don't think you were at fault. Maybe you did submit your wages, or maybe you didn't know about a specific rule, and you have to be found unable to repay. This means I can't pay that all back, especially not in one lump sum. Okay, so there is information about overpayments as well on our website. If you ask for a waiver or an appeal within 30 days, we won't collect the money until we decide on your request. If you don't pay us back within 30 days of the date on your notice, or we don't hear from you, we will automatically, and you're on SSDI, we will automatically withhold 50% of your benefit or 10% of your benefit if you're on SSI until the month the overpayment is repaid. Okay, so in order to prevent this from happening, you would want to take action when you receive your overpayment notice, whether it be starting a payment plan, filing an appeal, or filing a waiver. This would prevent that automatic withholding. If you no longer receive benefits, the law allows us to collect on the debt in various ways. You would get also a notice, you would get a bill, but you could also get your tax refund withheld, certain state payments, or your wages garnished. Okay, so you do want to make sure that if you get an overpayment notice, that you review it, that you pick one of these courses of actions. If you disagree, if you want to file a waiver, or maybe you just want to do a payment plan, it's important to take action timely to prevent any type of collection or automatic withholding. Now, there has been quite a bit of different scams that have been happening, all over, but specifically with Social Security. And so we just want to provide another reminder. Social Security does not contact citizens who don't have ongoing business with Social Security by phone or by email or by text. Yes, if you've made an appointment, you may get a text message reminder or an email reminder. Yes, if you're filing for benefits or you have something that's going on, post entitlement issues, and you're working with us, yes, we would probably give you a call back. We would be sending you notices. But if you're not doing any of those things, we wouldn't just out of the blue contact you or send you an email. Social Security employees will never threaten you for information or state that you're going to face some type of potential arrest or legal action if you fail to provide information. That is a scam. That is fraudulent, and you should definitely hang up, report that email as scam, phishing, the text message as well. Okay, do not give any of your personal information out. Some of these scams have been, really improved. They'll send you an email with a copy of a badge ID that does look like a government badge, but it is not. It's not true. It is fraud. So we don't want you guys to give any information out. When Social Security is dealing with you, we send you notices. We call you by phone again. And if you have ongoing business, and you can always have us identify or give us a call back so that you know that it's not fraud. Some tips to protect yourself are to understand the threats. Fraudsters use several forms of impersonation, advance fees, or phishing schemes. They might contact you and claim to be from SSA or IRS or other government agencies requesting your information. And they need something from you right away. So they're giving you this option that has to be done right away or else. Okay, they might claim that you've won some kind of lottery or freebie, or you're able to get something by paying an upfront fee. They might say that you need to provide your Social Security number by this date or you're going to be prosecuted. The most recent scam is an automated recording stating that your social security number has been suspended for suspicion or illegal activity and that you must call the number provided or your assets will be frozen. And if you call the number and provide your personal information, um, the scammer then can use that information to commit identity theft or other fraud. So be aware of these type of schemes so that you can identify them and guard yourself against them. You want to always exercise caution. Again, no government agency or reputable company will call or email you unexpectedly and request your personal information or request advance money or ask for wire transfers, any of these things. We have your personal information. Um, and of course, securing um, your information. Okay. You want to make sure that you're storing your social security card in a secure location. You want to shred any documents that have your personal information on it. And that could be something as simple as your name and address, obviously, your social security number, your banking information. Avoid opening emails or clicking on links from unknown sources. And remember, if anyone's pressuring you to provide something, that's typically a scam. You can report fraud through our website, the oig.ssa.gov/report. The more information that's gathered, allows OIG or the Office of Inspector General to continue to prevent the fraud and investigate the fraudsters. So just to highlight as we wrap up, updates for 2026, just to recap, I don't think we talked about the taxable maximum. So the taxable maximum that's through your Social Security wages is $184,500 for 2026. The cost of living increase is 2.8%. The annual earnings test for people on retirement has increased to $24,480 a month, and monthly would be $2,040. So for those of you that know anyone on retirement benefits, they can earn up to $2,040 a month and have it not affect their benefit amount. That trial work period amount is $1,210. SGA has increased to $1,690, and for blind individuals, it's $2,830. And lastly, again, that Part B premium for Medicare has increased to $202.90 a month, with a Part B deductible of $283. Now, our most recent report from the trustees report from the Office of Chief Actuary Staff does tell us that Social Security will be able to pay all benefits in full and on time until 2034. The trust funds have come close to running out of reserves in the past, but Congress typically makes substantial changes to prevent this. So if Congress does not act before 2034, the trust funds will be able to pay 81% of scheduled benefits. Okay, so this is for Social Security disability, Social Security SSI, Social Security disability and Social Security retirement and survivor benefits. SSI, again, is paid from a different fund, right? So this doesn't apply to SSI. Now, I know we went over a ton of information, a lot of information. Again, you can find online as well. You can contact us, but we are approaching a time for questions. So I do want to also just let you all know that we are on social media. We're on all of these platforms, Indeed, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and X. And our handle is at Social Security. To stay up to date on the latest information, I do suggest you visit these sites and our website, I think the most important one I would want to share really as a takeaway would be our YouTube channel. There is a ton of videos, and our Office of Communications continues to add more helpful videos that are informative. Some of them are step-by-step guides. I do also want to remind you all that this information is current at the time of the presentation. Social Security policy is subject to change. So please visit ssa.gov, our website, for most up-to-date information on our programs.
Thank you so much, Grace. That was a lot of information. Hopefully, everyone has sort of a hint as to what tools are available and how those changes to SSI and SSDI really work in your favor for 2026 if you're considering going to work. So we just really appreciate you taking the time to share this information with us all. Okay, so let's go ahead and address a few questions. So regarding the overpayment, so you mentioned that 30-day sort of a grace period. So can you kind of walk us through real briefly the steps someone should take? They're going to receive a letter saying they've been overpaid. If they disagree with the letter, how much time do they have to respond to Social Security, whether that's requesting a waiver or an appeal or additional information?
Yeah, it's a great question. You really want to respond right away. Now, you have 30 days on the, again, this notice will tell you how long you have. It's 30 days. But typically an appeal, you have 60 days to file an appeal. But for an overpayment, you want to take action within 30 days of the date on that notice, regardless of which action you want to take to prevent automatic collections. Because if you're an SSDI beneficiary, you're going to get a 50% collection. If you're an SSI recipient, it's going to automatically take that 10% out of your check. Okay. We can fix it after the fact, but if you take action within 30 days, you shouldn't have any automatic collections or withholdings, I should say.
hmm Yeah, I think that's what's really important to understand, that you can negotiate that withholding if you do agree with the overpayment. But if you just ignore the notice, Social Security is going to take that action regardless. So you definitely want to respond. Thank you,
And we
Grace.
understand that sometimes, yeah, of course, and we definitely understand that sometimes it's maybe you didn't ignore the notice. Maybe you were hospitalized at the time. Maybe you were unhoused at the time. Maybe you weren't able to access your mail, but you got to tell us that so that we can annotate that and we can rectify the situation or help you to get all that documentation in and help you find the best course of action.